Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I've been through the LLM journey and I firsthand know how tough it is to get a job after an LLM, and I've been through that journey. In the US legal market, all the employers have options to employ JDs, so why would they employ an LLM? So I understand how difficult it is. But that does not mean that there are no options for LLM. And don't get me wrong, it does not mean that you're not eligible to practice in the US. It only means that it is really hard. But there are certain jobs that are easier to get than the usual big law or law firm associate job. There are certain jobs that are easier to nag if you know where to look. So this video is about that. It's about the jobs that are a little bit easier for LLM graduates to get employed in. So before we dive in, please smash the like button if you find this topic useful, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So now let's jump into the list. I'm ranking these jobs from easier to the easiest, and that's how I'm categorizing them. But before we start, I would like to give a disclaimer that this list is according to my experience as to what I have seen in the job market. It is not a testament to how the job market works in the US, but as a person who's been through many interviews and has worked in the US legal market for the past 2-3 years, this is a list according to my experience. So number 6 on my list is the job of paralegal or legal assistant. It's this classic foot in the door job. Honestly, and to be blunt, this is not one of the flashiest jobs, and it is easier to get the job is because you don't really need a law license for it. Most paralegals at law firms and at various firm like companies have only an associate's degree, so you don't really need a law degree. But this is a good foot in the door job. It's a good job to start off with. um, Paralegals are a very important part of a law firm and the entire legal system. They do a lot of important work. Their work. So, what do they exactly do? They do a lot. Like, for example, in a litigation firm, they're doing all the discovery, they're talking to the clients, they are responding to discovery requests, they are drafting bills of particulars. Many times, they are drafting discovery motions and at least making the first draft, opposing motions, and preparing clients for deposition. So their work is really important. Now, because you don't really need a law license, a law degree to become a paralegal, what it means is that with an LLM and your previous law degree from your home country, many law firms will be very happy to hire you. Uh, uh, because you will be actually overqualified for this job, but it is a good job to start with. Of course, the salary is not as good. It is a good salary. Paralegals are paid well, but of course, you cannot compare it with an associate or a lawyer's salary. So it cannot be compared with that, but it is a solid foot in the door kind of a job. Okay, so the next one on my list is a document review attorney, which is basically a contract attorney. This is a quick gig for good experience. I mean, you can just do this and gain some experience to add in your resume or to find a better job. You can just add that you have some experience in the US legal field. Okay, so now why is it easier to get? It is quite an open secret, honestly. document review projects, and hiring contract attorneys can be a lifesaver for recent grads. They're easier to land because JD graduates don't want to take this job, and they try to avoid them because they are temporary and not very glamorous. But for us LLM people, they offer a quick way to get US work experience and a paycheck. So if you've passed the US bar, like New York, California, if you pass the US bar exam, you can work as a contract attorney reviewing documents. And even if you haven't passed the bar, some projects still hire a foreign licensed lawyer, especially if they need language skills. In fact, many document review projects specifically seek out LLMs who know foreign languages. So this is a good thing to start off with. Now, what you usually do is you usually basically you're sifting through legal documents in large cases. You'll spend your days reading emails, contracts, memos, whatever, to identify what's relevant for a case or investigation. It's like being a detective, but for paperwork. And you get paid. So that's a great thing. It's just that it's temporary and you may have to work out your visa situation. But this is just, it's a good thing to start off with. Now, the next one in the list is a contract specialist legal operations. It's basically the behind the scenes legal pro. Now, you many times you'll find it on LinkedIn. Somebody's looking for a contract manager, contract analyst. It's basically this job role. It is basically like a hidden gem for law grads. These positions usually don't require you to be a licensed attorney, but having a legal training makes you stand out. Many employers just ask for a bachelor's degree and some knowledge of contracts. So when they see you have an LLM degree, they know you understand what a contract is and what negotiation is. So big bonus for them. Plus, fewer JDs target these jobs, which means less competition for you. And it's a way to get into corporate America without the bar exam barrier. So what you do is, as a contract specialist, you'll be drafting, reviewing, and negotiating contracts all day. And if you have such experience back in your home country, then of course you are the best person to do the job. So basically this could mean that you're working on business contracts, vendor agreements, NDAs, client service agreements, you name it. Companies in tech, finance, healthcare, many of these companies, they usually hire contract specialists. And I've seen many startups these days are hiring contract specialists because they don't really want to pay a lawyer's salary. So, this way they are getting somebody who is working in their legal team, but they don't have to pay a big salary. So you could try and look for these jobs. And again, this adds a great experience to your resume and make sure that you have a job. Number 3 on my list is that of a compliance officer, compliance analyst. It is currently one of the hottest fields, compliance, right now for law graduates, who aren't on the traditional attorney track, because many compliance jobs don't technically require you to pass the bar exam, but they do require you to have solid understanding of law and legal regulations. And that's why your LL.M gives you an edge. And companies love hiring legally trained folks to navigate the maze of regulations they face. And here's a kicker. If you are an international LL.M grad, your global perspective is a huge asset, since compliance often deals with international rules and cross-border issues. So unlike a law firm that might hesitate because you are an outsider, compliance department might prefer you for your unique background. Plus, the sheer demand for compliance professionals means that there are more jobs available, making it easier to snag one. So what you do as a compliance analyst or compliance officer is that you keep the company out of legal trouble. Basically, you'll develop and monitor policies to ensure everyone follows the law and the internal rules. This could mean training the employees of the company on the regulations of the company, or on the regulations in general, conducting audits, reviewing business practice, and etc. Um, so, for example, if you're working for a bank's compliance team, you might track transactions to prevent money laundering. You get the drill. Uh, so, um, so this is again a very good job to start off with, and not even just start off. This can become your career if you don't want to have a typical law firm associate job. So, number two on my list is immigration attorney or case manager. Now, immigration law is another accessible path for LLM graduates, particularly those who have personal or cultural ties to immigrant communities. There is consistently high demand for immigration lawyers in the US, driven by evolving policies and a large number of people needing legal assistance to live and work in the US. Small law firms and non-profit organizations are often eager to hire additional staff to handle immigration cases. For LLM grads who passed a US bar, uh, starting at an immigration law office can be one of the easier legal jobs to obtain. Employers, they value language skills because you can talk to clients who speak a specific language only and don't speak English. And cross culture experience and the first hand understanding of immigration processes that international LLM graduates often possess. So even without bar admission, some graduates find roles as immigration law case managers or law clerks or paralegals, where they assist attorneys with research, filings, client communications. So that is one good way. The other so immigration attorney, and although I've not added it in my list because I don't know many people who do this, but I think even if you're interested in litigation, but you have to be actually interested in litigation, I think personal injury roles are easier to get than getting an arbitration or a commercial litigation job. In my experience, I am in the personal injury department of my law firm. I wouldn't say it was easy for me to find this job. I had to go through a lot of hurdles, but now as I look around in my 3 years of experience, I think it is easier to get a job in personal injury than, of course, to get in arbitration or commercial litigation. Uh, so I just sneak this in because I had a lot of trouble finding this job, so I didn't want to put it in the list. But now, since the past 3 years, now I feel okay. This was definitely easier, so I just put it in the list. Now, the number one on my list of the easiest job to find is that of a tax consultant in a big four. Okay, so this is not exactly the easiest job to find, but if you have specialized in tax law, or if your LLM was focused on tax, you are golden. I don't mean that everybody who has studied tax will get a job, but the people I know who have done tax LLM have found a job. I don't know anybody who has done an LLM in tax and has had to go back home without a job. So if your LLM is in tax and land a job, and you can land a job in one of the big four accounting firms, that is Deloitte, PwC, EY, KPMG. They actively recruit LLM graduates for their tax teams. In fact, these Big Fours have entry level programs specifically for JD and LLM grads in tax. Uh, of course, no, it's so boring that nobody wants to study tax. I guess that is why they are, LLMs find it easier to do tax law and get a job. That was just a joke. But, and Big Four firms hire in large numbers, and they value the technical expertise that LLM students bring, and they are not hung up on this whole JD versus LLM distinction. They just want tax specialists. So if you're confused about what to specialize in your LLM, if you have no previous job experience, I think, and if you are, of course, interested in, you just don't do a tax LLM just because you find it easier to get a job, you are interested in tax, then it's great for you because it is much easier to find a job in tax law. And not just the big four accounting firms, even law firms that do a lot of tax planning, estate planning, and you can find jobs in law firms too. So now there you have it. These are the legal career paths that tend to be easier for LLM grads to break into compared to the traditional attorney role. Just to recap, we covered paralegal roles, document review gigs, contract specialist positions, immigration attorney, tax consultant. Each of these can be a stepping stone to something bigger. You might start as a paralegal and prove yourself and get promoted or transition into an associate role or an in-house counsel role, or you can leverage that compliance job to a counsel position once you get more experience. So the key is to just get your foot in the door. Now, before we wrap up, here are a few final tips for all LLM job seekers out there. Be open-minded and flexible. Your first job in the US might not be your dream job, and that's okay. The experience you gain will be invaluable. Network like crazy, cold email like crazy. Like I've already mentioned in my previous video, you need to cold message, cold email people. You have to be the one initiating all conversations. Nobody's going to come looking to hire you unless they do, in which case you're like really lucky. But you have to put in a lot of effort, and don't get discouraged by rejections from law firms. It's okay. Focus on the wins you can get in these alternative paths. And every bit of experience makes you more marketable down the line. So if you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content on building a legal career as an international lawyer in the US. Remember, I'm here to help you on this journey. If you have any questions or if you want more tips, leave a comment below. I do read them and I'll try to answer them as much as I can. Thanks for watching and good luck with your job search. You've got this. Bye.